Hello, everybody. It's Casey, and welcome back to the Inspire Fitness podcast. I'm so glad that you're here today, as always. And today we are speaking about an important topic, as I always try to choose important topics for all of you. So I'm going to revisit the concept of rate of perceived exertion and progressive overload today. Now, I know I've already given a podcast episode on this topic way back when, but we are definitely going to talk about it again because it is so important. And I want to emphasize a few key things, especially as of late in the Inspire Fitness program, how we have been working on rate of perceived exertion and incorporating this into our programming. So the real reason that you are going to be emphasizing rate of perceived exertion, or I'm going to encourage you to emphasize rate of perceived exertion, is the need to challenge your muscles. Because I must say, I know y'all enjoy my workouts, right? Like you like showing up, putting the effort in, getting the workout in, but you're not just there for a good time, right? Like you are showing up for an actual result. And so, if you want an actual result, you have to put in a little bit of effort and you have to start showing up intentionally, and thinking about rate of perceived exertion will help you do that and will help you maximize your results. So, we're going to talk about that today, as well as incorporating progressive overload and why lifting hard enough is the real ticket to strength, tone, and even improved metabolism. So, I'm encouraging all women to think about this topic and how they can incorporate it into their own workouts, even to beginners, because eventually you're going to start thinking about rate of perceived exertion, and probably sooner than later. Okay, so in the beginner workouts, our goal is really just to emphasize proper form and technique. You are really trying to learn proper form and technique so you can lay that wonderful foundation for strength training in the future, so you can become more confident in the lifting that you're doing, right? But rate of perceived exertion is going to help you know when it's time for you to bump up your weights. And so we're going to talk about it today and really try to bring this into our workouts with intentionality. So again, you can see the best results possible. Okay. So RPE simply is rate of perceived exertion, right? So it's perceived exertion. So it can vary from person to person, but in general, a RPE of 1 to 4 is going to be an easy warm up. That's warm up territory. You're not really exerting yourself much at all. This is we're just getting started, trying to wake up our muscles and get us moving. Marching in place probably is a good example of an RPE of 1 to 4, okay? Then we increase the scale from about a 5 to a 6. This is considered a moderate effort. And this is someplace that you could easily keep going. Okay? If we think about this in terms of strength training, you probably have about 6 to maybe 10 repetitions left in the tank, okay? So you could basically like double the amount of repetitions that you're doing at an RPE of 5 to 6, okay? As we start increasing on the scale, our perceived exertion is going up, meaning we're working just a little bit harder. So at an RPE of 7 to an 8, this means we're starting to work pretty gosh darn hard, but we still have control. And there are still some reps left in the tank, probably about 2 to 3. 2 to 3 repetitions left in your tank when you are working at an RPE of 7 to an 8. I like us right around an RPE of an 8 for the majority of our workouts, maybe even pushing to 9 depending on where you're at. So RPE of 7 to 8, meaning 2 to 3 repetitions left in the tank. And what I mean by that is when we are doing a total of 10 repetitions for a shoulder press, for example, I'm going to count you down from 10 reps. As we get to number 3 and 2 and 1, those last repetitions are starting to feel pretty gosh darn hard. You're working pretty hard to finish those last couple of reps. And when you finish number one, on to the last rep, that means you've done 10, you really think about it. How many more reps could I go right now? I could probably squeeze out one, maybe two more reps of the shoulder press, but that would be it. That, my friends, is the sweet spot, okay? 1 to 2 repetitions left in the tank means you're challenging your body. And we're going to talk about why that is so important for your results here in just a minute. But RPE of 7 to 8, working hard but with control. RPE of 9 means that's very challenging. You have maybe 1 repetition left in the tank, okay? So bring it back to the shoulder press example. I've got 1 repetition left in the tank. So when I come down on my 10th repetition, whew, I can get 1 more, but I'm working really, really hard to get that last repetition up if I was going to do it. RPE of 10 means I'm going to full complete failure. Literally could not get another repetition out because I am working so hard. My body is so tired. I cannot get another rep in no matter what I am doing. Okay. So RPE is a scale of 1 to 10. Yes, it can be somewhat subjective, but if you kind of think about it as how many reps are left in the tank, that's going to help you stay within that really nice window. And if you can kind of work into your workouts coming in around about a 7 to a 9 the majority of the time, that's when you're going to see your best results. That's the sweet spot, okay? So why does RPE matter? Why can't you just show up? You're like, Casey, I'm showing up consistently. I'm getting these workouts done. I've been showing up for the last 4 months, 3 times a week. Your body's not going to change in the comfortable place that it's at, okay? So if you're lifting the same weights forever, you've been at 8-pound weights doing that shoulder press for the last 4 months, like your body has no reason to make changes and adaptations. And that means your body is not going to be showing very many visual or physical strength change results, okay? So RPE gives you the power to gauge your effort, regardless of which weights you own, okay? And you do not need an incredibly huge arsenal to think about this, okay? Yes, we need to progress with our weights, so it may mean an investment of additional weights over time, but it gives you the power to gauge your effort. So if all you have are 8 and 12-pound dumbbells, you can gauge your effort and you can kind of determine, okay, how hard am I working? Am I finishing where I've got maybe 2 to 3 reps left in the tank? Am I finishing where I probably could go 6 to 10 more repetitions? Well, that's that moderate effort, right? Like we're not going to see a whole lot of change happening there. So if you focus on RPE, you're going to help yourself avoid under training, meaning 8-pound dumbbells for months and months and months at a time. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with 8-pound dumbbells when you're just getting started. Let me reiterate that, right? We want to focus on form and technique to start. But if it's month after month after month and no progression, no change in those weights, again, that is under training. And that's going to be one of the biggest issues that we see in women is being afraid to take that jump. Okay. So if you're using RPE, it is ensuring that you are challenging your body and your muscles enough to actually stimulate change. It also will help prevent burnout and injury because you're listening to your body and not chasing arbitrary numbers or thinking about what is she lifting or I should be going a lot heavier right now and making jumps that are a little bit too much for you at one time. This, my friends, is why I do not share the weights that I lift in the workout or why I don't tell you to pick up a specific weight because everybody's fitness level is going to be a little different. Somebody's RPE may be very high at a weight of 15 pounds in their squat on each side, okay, suitcase squat, where another person may be carrying 40-pound dumbbells. Somebody who's just getting started and 5 pounds is a lot for them because just their body weight is an increased stimulus compared to what they were doing, okay? So we're not chasing arbitrary numbers. We're really dialing it into what is going to work best for me, okay? Now, why do I need to be in that sweet spot? What is it about that sweet spot that actually produces the results? And it's a handful of things, okay? It's muscle fiber recruitment. So when you're in that sweet spot, 7 to 8 to 9, you're finally tapping into the muscle fibers that are responsible for tone and for strength. And these fibers, they're not going to be activated at your little tiny baby weights, okay? They need to be challenged in order to make that adaptation. Mechanical tension. So muscles must be challenged to the point of where they think, okay, like I need to make some adaptations here in order to be able to continue to lift this. And the adaptation is they get stronger, your muscles get stronger, you actually build more muscle, and you're going to visibly see it in that muscle definition. Okay. There's also metabolic stress that's going on in those final reps when that fatigue starts to set in and you're like, oh, I don't know that I can finish this. Get a little shaky, right? Get a little slower, pushing that weight up. That's the signal that your body needs to change. It helps with muscular endurance and improved metabolic health. And there's a hormonal response going on as well. Lifting with effort supports better insulin sensitivity. It stresses the bones in just the right way. That's going to stimulate that bone density improvement. It's going to help your metabolism and your energy as well. Okay, so RPE, rate of perceived exertion, we talked about that. We talked about why that's important. We need to challenge our muscles, right? Like we need to keep them in that sweet spot. But the principle to keep making progress and the stimulus must gradually increase. That's the concept of that progressive overload, okay? So the stimulus must gradually increase because even if I'm at an RPE and I'm feeling really good and I keep those weights right there, guess what? Over time, my body doesn't need to adapt anymore. That just becomes my norm, right? So over time, we need to increase the stimulus. And that's the concept of progressive overload. And that is the philosophy and the strategy that we use inside the Inspire Fitness program. And there's several ways to do that. And I'll go over them briefly. We could increase weight, meaning instead of 8-pound dumbbells, now I'm grabbing my 10s. We could increase repetitions. So instead of 10 repetitions, I could do 11 or 12. I could slow my tempo, right? So I could do a tempo squat or a tempo press, which is going to increase the time under tension, making my muscles work a little bit harder at the same weight. I could go to a better range of motion. So maybe when you start, you just do a little bit of baby squat, up and down, little movement. All of a sudden now I'm getting stronger. My core is getting stronger. My legs are getting stronger. I'm using the same weight, but I can go a little bit deeper range of motion and come on back out of it. I could add an additional set, right? Like normally we're doing about 3 sets in the program, 3 rounds of everything. Guess what? We could add a 4th round. Same weight, same repetitions, but you're going to feel it after you do a 4th set of those exercises. That's another way to progressively overload. And then improving your form. So your form is so important, and we try to stress good quality form and technique. But you may need to make some improvements to your form. And as you get stronger, especially in the core, right? Like, especially as our core starts to get stronger, we can maybe do that same lift with better form and technique. And that also is progress. Okay. So let's just give a quick example. Starting at week 1, we're coming in and doing 15 pounds on each side of our squats. You've been lifting for a bit. So week 1 to you is in my program, 15 pounds of your squats, and you're going 10 repetitions. And you feel like that's an RPE of 7. Like I probably could go about 3 more repetitions. The next week or 2 weeks later, you come in and you're like, you know what? I think I'm ready for a jump. So instead of those 15 pounds, you're going to grab 20s. And now I'm going to do the same repetitions. Try to keep it at 10. All of a sudden, I'm like, whew, I could maybe get 1 to 2 more reps in here. So my RPE has increased. I am at the same weight. Same repetitions number, but I've increased my weight. And now my RPE is increasing. And what does that do to my body? It challenges it and it gives it a reason to adapt and change. And that is progressive overload working in your favor while contemplating and considering that RPE. Okay. So intentionally coming in with knowing that RPE is going to be very, very helpful. Common mistakes that women make, just kind of go over these real quickly as well. Sticking with the same weights, those same 8-pound dumbbells. I hate to pick on 8-pound dumbbells, but the same dumbbells month after month after month after month. That is a huge mistake. You are not challenging your body far enough to see those results. Another mistake is thinking soreness equals progress. Like, I'm not sore, so I'm not making progress. That is not the case. This could be a whole nother topic in and of itself, I think. But if you're continuing to progress and doing it in a safe and slow and steady manner, you may not always feel sore. And that's not a bad thing. Like, we don't have to feel horribly sore after every single workout or every single week to make sure that we're still making progress, right? Another like mistake, and I don't hear this as much anymore in my program. I think you've all kind of, drinking the Kool-Aid with me here, but we got to stay at the RPE of 5 to 6. I got to keep those weights a little bit lighter because I don't want to get bulky. Okay. Like, you're not going to get bulky. All right. That's where you see the best results. You feel more lean and fit and tone when you're at the perfect RPE, right? Or the sweet spot, I should say. Never pushing enough to challenge again. So you're keeping your RPE down at that 5 to 6, maybe even around a 7. Time to push it up a little bit. Okay. Nutritionally, a mistake could be just not eating sufficient amount of calories. So you're just restricting too much, or just not eating enough protein. Protein is so important to the muscle building process. And when you have enough on board, you're definitely going to see better results coming from your strength training. And then I think sometimes we just get a little bit like mentally blocked about these heavier weights. We see those kind of like bigger dumbbells on the rack and we think, oh, no, I can't do that. Like, I'm not ever going to be strong enough to lift those 35s. Right. But if you use the method and you continue to focus on that RPE and you make those adjustments, they're very small and incremental, right? 5 pounds at a time. I've even got ladies in the program who buy those little clips to go around their dumbbells, or somebody suggested the other day as well to put on the wrist weights. So as you're lifting and pressing and holding, you've got extra weight, just a little bit, like 2 pounds on each arm, right? Like, that's a nice incremental way to do that. So you don't have to let that fear of lifting heavier weights stop you, and you shouldn't, because you're not going to get your best results that way. Okay. So within the Inspire Fitness program, most of you know, we talk about RPE, we talk about progressive overload. The workouts are designed with the intentional rep ranges to kind of put you in that sweet spot, okay? They should feel challenging. You should need that break. Like, I always say, if you're standing there looking at me in the workouts thinking, come on, what's she waiting for? Like, that's your sign you're not lifting heavy enough. Your RPE is not up where it needs to be, okay? So you wanted to kind of dial it up a little bit. I try to cue the RPE pretty much every workout. Typically in that 8 to 9 range is kind of where we want to be, unless I'm instructing otherwise. Deload week would be an example. Deload, we're definitely taking it down a notch, right? The goal is to help our body recover. And so we're not pushing the intensity of our lifts up. And so we are intentionally taking that RPE back down to about a 5 or 6. It's going to feel easy. It should, right? Built-in progressions, trying to change up the phases, trying to progress with different weights over time. I'm always encouraging you to think about progressing, right? Like, what were you lifting 3 weeks ago when we did our squat? What were you lifting a month ago when you did your bench press? Are you making progress? And for women who are just getting started with strength training, this is going to come a lot quicker. You're going to see real fast progression, probably in that first 3 to 6 months, or first 1 to 6 months, I should say. After that, it's going to start to slow down, as it should, because you're not going to get like infinitely stronger month after month after month, right? Like, your body is amazing and it adapts, but it doesn't always adapt that quickly as when you're just starting. Okay. So you may not jump in your bench press by 5 pounds, maybe once a year or twice a year, but maybe you can increase 1 repetition, right? Or tempo your last 2 reps, or you could change your range of motion, like get a little bit deeper down into that bench and push up a little bit higher. So there's ways that you can progress without having to increase the weight. And every time you incrementally do that, it's going to get you closer to that next set of weights, right? Could be adding that 4th round, because now your muscles are fatigued and you're still asking them to do that 4th set. And when you do that, you're more prepared to handle that load the next time you come to it. Okay. So that's how we use RPE and progressive overload in the program. We're kind of constantly thinking about it. We're showing up intentionally, at least I hope, and thinking about how hard am I working? If you're not making goofy faces those last couple of reps, if you're not like breathing hard, maybe grunting a little bit, maybe just losing form just a little bit, not fully. Like I don't want you going way, crushing like way off track with your form, but just feeling that little shift because it's just getting a little bit harder to finish. Those are all signs that you're working pretty gosh darn hard in those last couple of reps and you're in that wonderful sweet spot. Okay. So RPE and progressive overload is what makes home lifting effective. We don't need a bunch of crazy machines. We don't need a like huge arsenal of weights. Yes, with time, you probably need to invest in some additional weights, but you can do this with just a handful of dumbbells by intentionally showing up and incrementally adding a rep here, adding a little bit of a tempo, slowing it down, adding a fourth set. Like I said, all of these things can definitely promote your progression and your best results. Okay. So, to kind of wrap it up here, I hope you know you don't have to destroy yourself in your workouts in order to see progress. We don't have to go to complete failure. In fact, with the women that I work with, I don't recommend this. You're more likely to get injured if you're lifting to that extent. We can see some really great results by stopping with 1 to 2 reps left in the tank. We don't have to go to complete failure, okay? There's place and time for that. It's not typically in a home workout in this program. You do need to challenge your muscles consistently if you want to see physical changes in your body, if you want to get stronger, if you want to feel more fit, toned, and like your body is looking differently. It needs to be challenged. Okay. You can't just keep lifting the same weight for the same reps. The 3 times a week is wonderful, but if you really want to see some changes, you got to give your body a reason to change. Okay. The body you want, stronger, more toned, more capable, comes from controlled intensity. And it may feel like it's taking a long time, especially if you've been at it a while, right? But be patient. Keep showing up. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. I think that's a big thing because a couple of weeks ago, well, about a month and a half ago, we went to a strength program and we took our reps down, but I was encouraging heavier lifting. So it was just a little shift of what we had been doing. And I think mentally we think this load is so much heavier. This is more than what I was used to doing. So I'm going to really struggle here. But all of a sudden I take my reps down and I'm like, that didn't feel so hard. My RPE kind of stayed the same. I'm okay with that. In fact, I think I can go a little bit more. So it's just kind of like always keeping that RPE in mind is going to be your guide. And that's going to help you not undertrain and not push it too much where you're risking the injury. Okay. So, women in the program, first of all, thank you for being here and for listening to this podcast. Continue to show up with intention in your workouts. Okay. I know sometimes you just like have so much of the mental load on your plate and you just want to like show up and forget about it. But like, do yourself this favor. Start thinking intentionally about every single weight that you're choosing. Okay. And if you really just got to let it go, like just refer back to your little tracking sheet. Like, what did I lift last time in this? Okay. And show up with intention. If you're trying to get better results, it's going to help you. Those of you who aren't in the Inspire Fitness program, I welcome you. Okay, we just kicked off the holiday boot camp on Monday, so we're just a handful of days in. You are more than welcome to join us. I would love if you did. We have over 4 weeks left of the program, and this is a way that you can show up consistently over the next 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, I should say, and learn these concepts. Start to incorporate them. I will help you. I will guide you. I will give you that direction within the workouts. I'll tell you everything except what weights to choose. That will be up to you. Okay. So if you come on and join us, I think you're going to have a little bit of fun, but more importantly, you're going to see some really great results and you're going to stay consistent with your workouts over the crazy holiday season. Okay. So I welcome you. You can reach out to me on my website, inspirehw.com. You can also find me on my socials, Casey Young RD CPT on Facebook or on Instagram, fit.nutritionist. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. I'm going to end today with our quote. I think it's so applicable. You don't get stronger by doing what you can. You get stronger by doing what you thought you couldn't. And often what you thought you couldn't is that little bit heavier weight or that one more rep. So keep working, ladies. Keep showing up. You got this. It's going to be a great, great day. I appreciate you being here, and I will look forward to seeing you back here next time.